Sometimes walking away is the strongest move you can make. When you've been caught in the web of a toxic relationship, it often feels like every step forward pulls you deeper into the trap. But the truth is, the moment you choose yourself, the moment you reclaim your worth, the game changes entirely. You shift from being the one who feels stuck to the one who sets the terms. The power dynamic flips, and those who once tried to control you find themselves trapped by their own actions. Toxic people thrive on your doubts. They manipulate your kindness, twist your empathy, and feed off your insecurities. They need you to believe that you need them. But the beauty of self-awareness is that once you see through the illusion, it loses its grip on you. When you stop engaging, when you pull back your energy, it forces them to face the void they've created for themselves. You played your cards right by choosing silence over argument, distance over drama, and peace over chaos. You don't need to seek revenge or prove anything to them. The most powerful move is to live your life fully, to find joy in the simple things, to surround yourself with people who celebrate your light instead of dimming it. When you shift your focus from them to you begin to rebuild. Your energy returns, your clarity sharpens, and you realize that the freedom you've been craving has always been within your reach. The chains that held you were never physical. They were mental, and you just broke them. The thing about toxic people is that they often set traps, but they rarely set them for themselves. When you no longer play their games, when you remove yourself from the board, they find themselves lost. They expected a reaction, needed validation, but your absence leaves them with nothing but their own behavior to confront. You no longer mirror their negativity, and in that void, they are left facing themselves, their worst enemy. Healing from toxicity is not about erasing the past. It is about reclaiming your present. You transform pain into wisdom, lessons into strength. You recognize the patterns, not to dwell on them, but to break them. You choose to rise, to focus on what nourishes your soul, and to create a life where your worth is never questioned, especially not by you. You stop explaining yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Your story becomes a testament to growth, to courage, to the power of moving on. It is not easy. There will be days when you miss the comfort of familiarity, even if that comfort was tied to chaos. But each time you choose yourself, each time you reinforce your boundaries, you rewrite the narrative. You are not someone who was abandoned. You are someone who chose freedom. You are not someone who lost. You are someone who learned. The pain that once felt like a weight now feels like armor. You become untouchable, not because you avoid hurt, but because you know how to heal from it. Your glow up is not just physical, it is spiritual. It is the quiet confidence that fills the room, the steady peace that no one can shake. You stop needing validation from the outside world because you have built a sanctuary within. You become your own safe place. And those who once held power over you find that they no longer have access. They are on the outside, looking in, trapped by their own games, while you walk freely in the light of your truth. When you choose yourself, you give permission to others to do the same. You become an example, a beacon. You show that it is possible to leave, to heal, to thrive. You are living proof that surviving a toxic relationship is not just about leaving the person. It is about leaving the mindset. You shed the identity of the wounded and step into the role of the warrior. Your past may have chapters of pain, but your future is an unwritten masterpiece, and you hold the pen. Moving on does not mean you forget. It means you forgive yourself for staying as long as you did. It means you acknowledge that your love was real, even if theirs was not. It means you accept that the closure you seek from them is something you can give yourself. You close the door, not with bitterness, but with gratitude for the lessons. You walk away, not as someone who was broken, but as someone who chose to rebuild. And so the real power lies not in what they lost, but in what you gained. You played your cards right by choosing to move forward, by refusing to let your story end in someone else's toxicity. You are no longer trapped. You are free. And those who once thrived on your pain are left to face the emptiness they tried to fill with your light. You walk on, strong and unshaken, a testament to the truth that the best revenge is simply choosing happiness. Life is a game of strategy, and you have always been a master of the board. While others moved with haste, showing their hands too early, you remained poised, studying the game, analyzing every move. You understood that the strongest player is not always the one who strikes first, but the one who knows when to strike and when to wait. You watched as they played their cards recklessly, overestimating their control, underestimating your patience. They thought they were winning, their confidence a facade draped over fragile strategy. But the game is not over until the last card is played, and your ace was always kept close to your chest. They thought they had you cornered. They moved their pieces with arrogance, setting traps they believed you would walk into blindly. They misread your silence as weakness, your calm as compliance. What they did not realize was that every step you took was deliberate. You allowed them to think they were leading, to believe they were in control, all the while guiding them into the snare of their own making. You understood that true power lies not in overt displays, but in subtle influence, in the art of making your opponents believe they are free, while every path leads to the same inevitable outcome. Every choice you made was a thread woven into a web. You created a reality where their options narrowed with every decision, where every move they made only tightened the net around them. While they were focused on quick wins, you were building an empire, brick by brick, unseen and unstoppable. They moved with short-sighted ambition, taking immediate gratification while you invested in the long game. Now, as they look around and realize their entrapment, the truth becomes clear. You were not playing the same game. You were playing to win. There is a villainous elegance to how you orchestrated this. You allowed them to show their hand, to reveal their intentions. You feigned ignorance, concealed your strategy behind a mask of indifference. You became the mirror, reflecting back their own arrogance, showing them only what you wanted them to see. And while they were busy admiring their supposed victory, you were setting the stage for the ultimate checkmate. Now, they are trapped, not by your actions, but by their own. They built the walls, and you simply closed the door. The beauty of your victory lies in its subtlety. You did not need grand gestures or bold declarations. You did not fight their chaos with chaos. Instead, you remained still, the eye of the storm, allowing them to destroy themselves. They were the architects of their downfall, and you were the quiet hand, guiding them to it. Now, They stand surrounded by the ruins of their own making, and you remain untouched, unbothered, the only one who saw the end from the beginning. They are trapped, not just physically, but mentally. They replay every interaction, searching for the moment they lost control. They remember your calm, the subtle hints you dropped, the way you never reacted to their provocations. Their mind becomes a prison, each thought a bar, each regret a lock. They see your face not as an enemy, but as a ghost, an echo of their own miscalculations. They realize too late that the greatest threat was not your strength, but your restraint. You held back, not because you were afraid, but because you were waiting for the perfect moment to strike. While they scramble for an escape, you walk forward. You take each step with purpose, your path clear, your conscience clean. You do not gloat, do not need validation. Your victory is not in their defeat, but in your discipline. You played your cards right, not by luck, but by design. You chose your battles, picked your moments, and now the board is yours. The pieces lay scattered, the game over, and only you remain standing. This is not just a win, it is a coronation. You are the ruler of the reality you created, and they are left to wander through the maze they thought they controlled. Their fear is palpable. They know they are trapped. But what haunts them more is the realization that they were never in control. They understand now that every choice they made was influenced. Every path they took was guided. They are not victims of circumstance, but of their own hubris. You were the puppeteer, and they danced on strings they could not see. Their arrogance blinded them to the truth, that you were always 10 steps ahead, that the game was rigged not by deceit, but by patience and precision. Patience is a weapon few understand. It is not the absence of action, but the discipline to wait for the right moment. You wielded it like a blade, every moment of silence, every pause, a sharpened edge. While they rushed forward, desperate for quick wins and instant validation, you remained still, watching, calculating. Each delay was not hesitation. It was a brick in the wall that now surrounds them. They acted as if the game was simple, as if the first to move was the first to win. They did not see the board the way you did. They focused on the short game, on the immediate, on the gratification of small victories. They played for applause, for recognition, believing that those who make the most noise are the ones who hold the power. But while they clamored for attention, you built your strategy, brick by brick, silence by silence. You allowed them to believe they were ahead, that their speed equated to strength. They thought patience was passivity, but you knew better. Patience was control. Each decision they made was a window into their mind. You observed how they reacted under pressure, how easily they were provoked, how quickly they showed their hand. You let them set the pace, knowing that the faster they moved, the more mistakes they would make. They saw your stillness and mistook it for stagnation, but you were simply allowing the storm to pass, knowing that the real power lies in those who remain standing when the chaos clears. Now, as they look around, they see the walls you built, not from bricks and mortar, but from their own missteps and your unwavering discipline. While they were burning bridges, you were building doors. You did not need to force them into a corner. They walked there willingly, guided by their own arrogance. Every rash decision, every careless word, every hasty move was another step into the labyrinth of their own making. You did not push them. They ran. You simply watched as their path narrowed, as the exits disappeared one by one. Now, they are trapped, not because you led them there, but because they believed they were immune to consequence. Your patience allowed them to construct their own cage, and now you hold the key. They find themselves in a prison with walls they helped build. They press against the cold stone, searching for cracks, for weaknesses, but your design was flawless. Every calculated delay, every strategic silence was a reinforcement. You did not act prematurely, did not allow emotion to dictate your moves. While they lashed out, you pulled back. While they exposed their plans, you covered yours. They thought they were playing against you, but in truth, they were playing against themselves. You merely provided the stage and watched as they performed their own downfall. Your patience was not just a strategy, it was a lesson. You showed them that power does not always roar. Sometimes, it is the quiet that is most dangerous. While they exhausted themselves, swinging at shadows, you remained still, gathering strength. They laughed at your inaction, but now they are not laughing. They are silent, the same silence they once mocked. They realize that every moment you waited was a moment you controlled. They are stuck, tangled in the web they did not see until it was too late. You became the architect of their entrapment, not by building walls around them, but by allowing them to build walls around themselves. You offered no resistance, knowing that their own impatience would drive them deeper into the maze. You knew that those who rush rarely see the pitfalls ahead. They thought they were chasing you, but you led them in circles. Now, the hunter is the hunted, the predator trapped in its own snare. You remain just out of reach, a shadow on the edge of their vision, a reminder that you were always in control. They understand now that patience is not passive. It is the art of letting others play their cards while keeping yours close. It is the wisdom to know that silence is a conversation in itself, that stillness can create movement. You let them overextend, let them burn their resources, let them tire themselves out. And when the time was right, when the last piece of their plan crumbled, you stepped forward, not with force, but with certainty. You did not need to strike. You simply let the weight of their own actions press down on them. Their panic is a symphony. You hear it in the way they scramble, in the desperate calls they make, in the hollow excuses they offer. They are surrounded, not by your doing, but by their own. They realize now that while they were trying to outmaneuver you, you were setting the board. They thought they were setting traps, but every trap was a step further into your design. You played your cards right, not with haste, but with precision. Now, they are left with nothing but the echoes of their own choices, the shadows of the exits they sealed behind them. Sometimes, the best move is to let them think they are winning. You knew this from the start. You understood the psychology of the game, how victory tastes sweeter to those who think they earned it easily. You allowed them to celebrate, to bask in the glow of their supposed triumph, never once showing your hand. Your patience was a quiet storm, and they never noticed the clouds gathering above them. They believed they were ahead. They paraded their successes, pointed out your silence as weakness, mistook your restraint for resignation. They moved boldly, loudly, mistaking volume for power. You watched, a silent observer, a predator cloaked in shadows, knowing that the most dangerous threats are the ones that remain unseen. They thought they had outplayed you, but you were never playing their game. You were writing the rules, crafting a path that led only to their own undoing. Now, as they stand with their backs against the wall, they realize that every victory they celebrated was just another step into the trap. Your genius lay in the art of redirection. You gave them enough rope to feel in control, enough space to maneuver, but every option they took only led them further into your design. You did not push them, they ran. You did not force them into the corner, they painted themselves into it, too focused on the immediate to see the inevitable. While they were chasing the win, you were building the board, ensuring that no matter how the pieces moved, the end game remained the same. You held the strings, and they danced, believing the music was their own. The beauty of letting them think they were winning is that it amplifies the impact of reality. They became drunk on their own arrogance, their confidence a poison they willingly drank. They dismissed your quiet, ignored your subtle moves, laughed at your stillness. They were so consumed by the desire to win that they never questioned why the path was so easy, why every door opened with such little resistance. Now, as the doors slam shut, as the walls close in, they are left with nothing but the echoes of their own laughter, hollow and haunting. You understand that in any game of strategy, overconfidence is a weapon. You allowed them to wield it against themselves. They made mistakes, not because you forced them to, but because they were blinded by the illusion of victory. You gave them nothing to fight against, no resistance to sharpen their blades. They dulled their edge against the silence, mistaking the lack of opposition for an easy win. Now, they are trapped, not by force, but by their own momentum. They move too fast, too recklessly, and every step forward only solidified their entrapment. They are beginning to see it, now, the brilliance of your strategy. They replay every move, searching for the moment they lost control, but the truth is that they never had it. You set the stage, provided the props, wrote the script. They were actors in your play, and the curtain has fallen, leaving them stranded on a stage with no exit. They realize that their victory was an illusion, a mirage in the desert of your design. You let them believe they were leading, and now they are lost. Surrounded by walls they unknowingly built themselves. While they scramble for an escape, you remain calm. You do not need to gloat. Their panic is victory enough. You are a master of subtlety, understanding that true power is not always in the move, but in the waiting. You knew when to pull back, when to hold the line, when to let them think they were winning. Every delay was deliberate, every silence a strategy. Now, as they try to backtrack, they find every door locked, every path blocked. The labyrinth they find themselves in is not of your making, but of their own. You simply allowed them to walk into it. Their desperation is palpable. They look to you for answers, for mercy, but you offer none. You gave them opportunities to see the truth, to step back, to reconsider. They ignored every sign, blinded by their own ambition. Now, the walls close in, and they realize that the game they thought they were winning was never theirs to win. They are not victims of your strategy. They are prisoners of their own hubris. You did not create their cage. You only showed them the way into it. The true brilliance of your plan is that you remained untouchable. While they exhausted their resources, you conserved yours. While they revealed their intentions, you concealed yours. You are the shadow on the edge of their vision, the calm amidst their chaos. You do not need to strike, because the blow has already landed. You let them believe they were winning, until the very moment they realized they had already lost. Now, They are trapped, and you are free. The architect of the game, the master of the board, the one who played the cards right from the very start. True power lies in silent moves. You understand this fundamental truth, wielding it like a hidden blade. While they acted loudly, drawing attention to their every action, you moved in shadows, each step deliberate, each choice measured. They mistook volume for strength, believing that those who shout the loudest hold the most influence. But you knew better. You knew that the most dangerous force is the one that remains unseen, the whisper that unsettles, the shadow that lingers just beyond the edge of perception.